Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy, Nate Weitzer, Hoodie Nate on the East Coast. And it's Thursday, and we've got a 6-game slate here in the NBA for you guys to choose from. In this one, we're taking a look at an Eastern Conference battle. Brooklyn playing host to Boston, obviously sans KD. We'll take a look at what that means in this one. Also got another game video up for you and our player props as we are doing each and every weekday this season. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where we put up all the stuff we're talking about here and more. And you can use our odds finder tool over there. That's where we have all of, you can use that to go ahead and check out all the offerings from US sportsbooks this season. Make sure you're getting the best juice on all those NBA bets. Nate, let's get into this little 6-game slate here and then talk Nets and C's.
Yeah, I like this slate, though. I particularly like this game because, of course, we're going to talk about the Celtics winning, but we'll get into that in a second. We got the Thunder plus 10 at the Sixers. That should be a spicy one. Love the feisty Thunder. Celtics are minus 3 at the Nets, who, of course, will be out without Kevin Durant for about a month now. Bucks are plus 4 at Miami. That opened closer to a pick'em, but Miami gaining some steam. The Bucks are on a back-to-back. I think people are sniffing somebody resting here for Milwaukee. The Hornets still in Toronto. They're plus 8 after losing by 12 2 nights ago in Toronto. The other game we break down, Dallas minus 3 at the Lake Show. Totals at 236 there. And then the Cavs are minus 3 at Portland. Technically, Damian Lillard questionable for that one. So keep an eye on the struggling Blazers. Look, I mean, we talk a lot about stars out, bets up. And especially in those first couple games, you know, the ball's going to be moving. They might be playing better. Don't underestimate the supporting cast. This is not the case with Kevin Durant. Like, he is top 3 in the MVP conversation. Absolutely no discussion about it. If you're just watching the games and understanding the importance to their team, more of an MVP than Tatum because Jaylen Brown and Tatum are really co-MVPs. And of course the Celtics with both their guys, the Nets without KD. I mean, just during this 18-2 stretch, how responsible is he for that success? Well, he's averaging 30, shooting basically 60, 40, 95 from the floor, 125 offensive rating. He was at plus 164 in those 20 games when he was out there. You look on the season, they're 11.5 points better per 100 possessions with Durant on the floor. Defensively, too. Like, this is the stuff that the average fan might not look at as much, but defensively allowing 4% more offensive rebounds, allowing the opposition to shoot a full percentage higher effective field goal, forcing turnovers on 2% fewer possessions. Without KD since January last year, they're 9-19. They have just a 113 offensive rating, shooting 33% from deep, 22 assists per game. It's very, very low. So they're able to squeak out a low-scoring win in Miami on Monday. They do have a rest advantage here, but I still love the Celtics. I mean, they have not been bothered at all by rest disadvantages here, and even back-to-backs. They're 6-0 straight up. They're 5-1 against the spread on back-to-backs, averaging 12.5 points per victory. And they rested Rob Williams and Marcus Smart, I believe, last night against the Pels. Still, by the way, dominated the boards without those guys. And still got the Jays, the co-MVPs, I said, 72 points on nearly 60% field goal shooting to just, make quick work of the Pels. I mean, they still played 35 minutes, but like I said, the back-to-back has not bothered this team right now. They get up for this game. That's why, I often worry about the Celtics on the road and often worry about them against non-conference games on the road, though, that particularly because they will come out flat, but they've won 5 of their last 6 road games against Eastern Conference teams, including in Brooklyn. And, of course, they get up for this matchup. Of course, they get up to beat Kyrie, the guy who just, kind of spit on them on his way out of town a couple of years ago and, everything else that goes along with him. And now he's the leader of this team. They have 8 straight wins over Brooklyn. That includes 4 straight in the playoffs, of course. KD has played in the last 6 of those. Brooklyn is scoring just 108 with KD out there. They've been shooting 41.5% from the 3-point line which has not continued recently and has not been the trend when KD's out. The shot quality just falls off a cliff. So, I mean, unless like Seth Curry goes nuts, I don't know who like the next man up, the guy you expect to fill this massive void is. And guys like Seth Curry, even TJ Warren, they're absolute liabilities on the other end of the floor. Who, the Celtics have been hunting these matchups. They're so deep, they're so well coached, and understand how to get their two stars on the weakest defender. I just have a real hard time imagining the Celtics don't win here. So -3 seems fine to me.
Yeah, you said a lot of stuff about the C's winning, and I agree. I mean, the only thing that I would caution against, because this is a podcast that talks about stars out, bets up, is the first game. It's the first game without the star that you usually see some form of like rally around, whatever, like team spirit or strength in numbers and next man up and all that kind of stuff. And then, you're at home against a team that has struggled a bit more on the road anyway, obviously than more so than at home. Although they've kind of gotten that ship righted since that losing streak, where the Warriors sort of stole their lunch in that one. But the main point again in this matchup is just how are you going to stop the Celtics, and are they going to stop themselves with the way that they're, if they're not shooting well from deep. And I would say over the course of their last 10 games, sort of, since they sort of picked things up from that really that rough outing against the Warriors that started a slight backslide, like it was really just, I think it was like a shock is what really caused that sort of that downturn, because even when they're not making threes in their last 10 games, they're still winning. So they don't need to shoot 38% from deep anymore in order to make sure that they're winning games, as they've gotten to the free throw a bunch more in their last 10, and they've had a bunch more actually, interestingly enough, not necessarily points in the paint, but they've had more points in the paint than they were scoring, essentially. Maybe Rob Will a bit to do with that, but they're finding other ways to score and sort of transitioning to the type of team that has Robert Williams back in the starting lineup as well, which is where I believe he's supposed to play tonight after you, like you said, he sat on a back-to-back, the front end. So I would feel pretty good about that, believing in what they've sort of done as of late, which is protect the paint a bit more and get a few more paint points. And now they're just back into sort of the top half of the league, because they were in the bottom half in those important categories as well. And that just really sort of buffers against the need for them to make, 23 pointers as a team, essentially, to win a game. They can do it in other ways. The Nets and what they can do to stop the Celtics, it's just been a bad matchup since basically forever at this point. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with what they're going to miss from KD, which is defense, rebounding and defense. And it's those defensive rebounds that scare me in terms of what the Celtics are going to be able to do if they are able to crash the offensive boards with Jalen, with Grant Williams, and obviously with Robert Williams and Al Horford. So that means you're going to see a lot more Royce O'Neal, Nick Claxton, and Ben Simmons, which means now you don't have any shooting. So if two of those guys are on the floor, I mean, Royce O'Neal, love the guy, actually. I shouldn't really talk shit on him. He's been hitting open threes in the last roughly 5 games or so, but it's not something that you want to rely on as a form of offense, right? Royce O'Neal's playing 37 minutes so that he can guard your team's best wing player or versatile big, and really handle all the peripherals, hit the open three from the corner when he's available. But you're going to see a lot more Ben Simmons and even Royce O'Neal, closer to 40 minutes than even these guys have been playing, which is kind of why I like both of them in player props as well. Everything I looked at for this game, obviously Seth Curry and Joe Harris are going to have to play more than they've been playing, but they've also got to shoot way better than they've been shooting, and they're still both being hobbled by injuries consistently in a way that, I don't know. I mean, TJ Warren, love him coming back as well. If it's sort of close to bubble TJ Warren at all, then you've got some sort of supplementary scoring for KD being out. But like you said, you don't make up for KD being out. So my main point is, the only reason I'm not betting on this game with my own money tonight is because of that weird fear and of the phenomenon of first game with the star out and everybody just sort of goes bonkers, and scoring comes from places you didn't expect, and Nick Claxton is tearing up the boards with Ben Simmons, and it just scares me from that standpoint. But I think there's other ways to bet this game specifically, like I said, and we'll talk about in player props some of the stuff for those reserves or the guys on the Nets that are going to have to make up for the loss of KD on defense.
Yeah, I don't see it. The Nets have been so bad scoring in other areas other than like the mid-range and in the paint. They're number one in effective field goal percentage. KD leads every perimeter player in true shooting. He's higher than Steph Curry in true shooting. Like, he absolutely just carries their offense. I mean, maybe if you're looking for another Kyrie 40 burger, which he did in a loss against Boston for, last March, 2 seasons ago. And since then, in 3 meetings, 18 points per game on a 109 rating. Yeah. Certainly, if Marcus Smart plays, I mean, you've also got Derek White and Brogdon to hound him. It's just so much more strength in numbers for Boston. I mean, the Nets are 30th in rebounding with KD out there being their second best rebounder. Claxton is dealing with a shoulder injury, by the way. And, I mean, it physically does not really have the same advantage if Rob Will's out there. And, I mean, down the stretch, the Nets just really struggling to score. I mean, they kind of played. I mean, they had to finish that Miami game without KD, and they had 36 points in the second half. Last time they faced Boston, they had 42. I mean, the under definitely seems like it's in play here because you're so worried about the Nets offense, but I'm a little worried that the Celtics get over 120 and blow them out because defensively, the Nets are most vulnerable on the three-point line, and they're giving up 39% in their last 3 here. And the Celtics, could just start raining down threes. The Nets have kind of dared. You say it's a bad matchup because they like daring guys like Grant Williams to shoot threes, and we just saw how that went the last couple games for the Celtics opponents. I mean the C's are back on their good bullshit here, and they're looking good in those last 4 games.
And Jason Tatum, too, obviously has looked incredible. I know Jaylen Brown actually did all the scoring, most of the scoring. But like you were saying yesterday, Tatum's a consistent triple-double threat right now as he got pretty close to it last night. And if it comes tit for tat at the end of the game and Kyrie's your only option at that point, just sell out on him. And I think you'll probably feel a lot better about the Celtics defense able to stop this Nets offense, like you said. I do expect Kyrie to come out and give us something here and give us a show and put up some points for sure. But like you said, he can still drop 40, and the C's could easily win by 3 in that scenario still. So that is all the time we have for you, though. In this one, make sure to check out the other game video we have up for you today and our player props as we're bringing you each and every weekday. And until we see you next, happy betting.